introduce the outcome of our coastal survey. Okay, the first one is this: quantity and type of coastal debris pollution in Taiwan, a rapid assessment with trained citizen scientists using a visual estimation method. So this one, we work with a German researcher, Bruno Walther, to write this after our first year survey of rapid assessment in 2018 to 2019. Here is the graphic abstract. So basically, this is a citizen science survey. We engage 49 citizen scientists, and our survey area is the Taiwan island. So total, we have 121 sampling sites, and we did 4 season surveys. So basically, every 3 months, we do 1 survey around Taiwan. And after 1 year's survey, we found out there are 491 tons of debris on Taiwan's coast. And we also discovered that bottles, fishing nets, and ropes and foam plastics are the most abundant debris types, which we think they are more likely come from marine sources like shipping industry, the aquaculture industry, and fisheries. Okay, so during the survey, we found that the wind, the seasonal wind or monsoon wind, play a critical part in the distribution of coastal debris. So we also test the wind, the factors of wind in this paper, and we found out 65% of debris accumulated at north, northeast, and northwest facing coastlines. So I will go through the details in the later part. So to be brief, so we use a visual estimation method to record coastal debris in Taiwan, and the citizen scientists, they get trained. And after the training, they go to sample the 121 transects 4 times in 2018 to 2019. And the mean amount is about 400 kilogram per kilometer. And the most abundant types are plastic bottles, foam plastics, and fishing nets. And we also found out that the marine-based pollution from fisheries activities are deposited during strong winds. Here is our method. So the site is only on Taiwan's main island. We didn't do the small islands around Taiwan. And total sampling sites are 121 locations. So basically every 10 kilometers, we set 1 sampling station. And each station, we have 100-meter transect to survey. And this covers about 1% of Taiwan's coastline length. And we did 4 times survey from the July of 2018 to the April of 2019. And you can see the picture at right-hand side. So here is the area of the transect. So we follow the instruction from CSIRO that from the seawater to 1 meter into the vegetation, and the length is 100 meters. This is the sampling area. And if there is seawall or wave breaker, then the boundary of this sampling area is from seawater to the bottom of the seawall or the wave breaker to the construction. Okay. And the citizen science, so every citizen scientist will take training. And during the training, we will introduce this record sheet. So this is a A4 record sheet. So they will fill their name, phone number, email address, and GPS coordinates, the direction of coastline and coastline types, pollution levels, like how many bags do they estimate the pollution of marine debris at that coastline. And they will also record the 3 most abundant debris types. And at the last part, they will take photos. Okay, so during the training, we will teach the surveyors what is 1 bag. So we use the big black bag, the garbage bag, which is common in Taiwan as our unit to do the visual estimation. So 1 bag, we can fill about 85 to 90 plastic bottles, the 2-liter plastic bottles into this big black bag. And you can see the coastal debris, they have many types and many forms. So sometimes we see a lot of small things scattered on the coastline, and which is difficult to estimate. So during the training, we will train the surveyors to do the estimation, and we ask them to pick up the debris into the bag to test if the results meet their estimation. And we think that they can improve their precisely. So here is the process of our training. And about the types of coastline, although Taiwan is a small island, but we have various kinds of coastline. And when we see some literature about the marine pollution, like oil spill, the United States, they said if the coastline, how to say that, the type of coastline will influence the distribution of oil spill. So we are curious if these factors will also influence the distribution of coastal litters. So we also ask our surveyors to record the types of coastline. So here you can see different type of coastline in Taiwan. Okay, so here comes our questions and hypotheses. We are curious that is there any difference in seasons? So if there is any seasonal change to influence the distribution of marine debris, or is there any difference in coastline orientation, the coastline types? Is the north-facing coastline having more debris? And we are also curious about if the beach, if it has a strong wind speed, will there be more dirty? And if a beach is close to a potential pollution source, will there be more dirty? So here are our question to be tested in this paper. Okay, is there any questions? No, okay, then I will continue. Okay, so here is table 1. So we did 4 surveys and we calculate the mean value of our 4th survey. So you can see that actually we cannot see a significant difference between seasons. So there is some difference, but not very big difference. And at the last part about the aggregation here, you can see, so we can tell that the most polluted, the most polluted transect, the top 10% polluted transect aggregates in about 50% coastlines. So here is the result of our 4 surveys. And about the composition, so we found out the most abundant debris types are plastic bottles, foam buoys, and fishing nets and ropes. And the least three abundant debris types are cigarette waste, papers, and pole fishing. But to be noted is that in about 25.7% of transect, no debris was recorded. So at those transects, actually the coastline is very clean. So there is no debris record. So these are at the east coast of Taiwan. Okay, and here is the distribution. We can see the map at right-hand side first. So you can see we made this map with the direction. We want to show the direction of coastline in this map. So you can see that the small yellow arrow, actually most of them are north facing or northeastern or northwest facing. And the top three polluted coastline, these three red coast, they are all north facing or northwest facing. So we think it's quite interesting. So that makes us decide to test the orientation of the coastline and the relationship of wind and wind speed. And you can see the east part here, they are relatively clean. So I also attached one photo here for your reference. So at east side, the coast litter is very few. Normally you cannot see any debris, maybe only one or two pieces of paper or cigarette box at the coastline, but most of it is relatively clean. And the most polluted area is at the north coastline and the west coastline, especially here. Okay. And about the orientation and pollution level. So I just give you a brief explanation at the map. And here we can see the table 3. And we found out that 65.1% of the debris was concentrated on northwest, north, or northeastern facing coastlines. And we also find that 10 out of 12 the most polluted transect, about which occupies about more than 80% of the volume, were north-facing transect. So here you can see on northwest, north and northeastern facing transect, they have more than half of the debris on their coastline. Okay, so here we test the coastline type and pollution level. And we also find that the exposed rocky platform, boulders, and exposed man-made structures, they have more debris than other types of coastlines. So here is the exposed rocky platform, the boulders, and two types of wave breakers or seawalls, the man-made structures. And we also did the wind speed and pollution level, and we found out the result is positive and significant. And another test is between the debris types and pollution level. So we found a positive and statistically significant relationship between the mean pollution level and the number of debris types. And we also found a stronger and positive for fishery-related debris types. But for daily use related debris types, such as plastic bottles, plastic bags, single-use utensils, we only find a weaker and negative relationship. Okay, so I think this may be the last part. So we also test, we are also test if there, if the specific debris types may have relationship with with the distance of the coastline to certain sources, such as touristic attractions, commercial ports, landfills, fishing ports, or other places. So we also did this test, and we found that the plastic bags has significant relationship with the touristic attractions. And we also find glass bottles and foam buoys. They are somehow related to the commercial port, and foam buoys related to restore landfills. This one we cannot find the explanation why, we don't understand. And fishing nets and ropes is not surprisingly that related to fishing ports. And at last, we find the most abundant buoys, such as foamed plastic, fisheries buoys, and fishing nets and ropes. These transects have higher wind speed. Here are the supplementary maps. So the first one is the seaside tourist attraction spots. So actually we use Google Maps to pin the tourist attraction on the map. Then we put them into the test. And the second one is the active and restored landfills in Taiwan. And you can see actually most landfills are relatively close to the seaside, because we don't want them to be located at the city area. So maybe that explained why they may have some relationship with the foam buoys. And the last one is the fishing ports. The blue dot shows the fishing ports, and the red dot shows the commercial ports in Taiwan. So, and we test the debris type and the coastal orientation, and we find out the fisheries related debris type, mostly foam plastics, fisheries buoys, and fishing nets and ropes, which are recorded more often on the north-facing coastline. Okay, and we also compare our results to nearby countries. So we know that Japan and Korea has done similar survey before, so we make a comparison. And you can see the density, the volume per kilometer, that Taiwan is the highest, about 2 times of Japan's results. And but the estimated mean weight, you can see Korea is the highest. And after this survey, we think we should improve our survey method, because we only sampled the weight of debris in the most polluted area, and which most of them are styrofoam. So I think that's somehow explained why the weight of Taiwan's coastline is the least among these 3 countries. And when we compare about the aggregation of the top 10 most polluted area, and you can see Japan has the highest condensed in their coastline, but Taiwan is about 50%. So still, we can still see that the marine debris is concentrated in specific coastline. Okay, so back to our questions and hypotheses. We test, is there any difference in seasons? And we found out not really, we cannot tell. And about the coastline orientation, yes, we find the north facing, northeast and northwest facing coastline, they has more debris than other orientation. And the coastline type, we also find it has some difference. And yes, this we test. And we also find if a beach has a stronger wind speed, they will be more dirty. And for the potential pollution source, and it will depend on the debris type and that kind of source. So this is the first paper. Is there any questions?
Chang?
If I may?
Yes.
You mentioned that there's no difference in seasons, whether it's northeast monsoon or southwest monsoon.
Can you say that again?
In your question, bullet number 1, is there any difference in seasons? You have 2 monsoon seasons, right? Same as Philippines.
Yes, yes.
The
Same.
northeast and the southwest.
The northeast and southwest. But in Taiwan, we found the southwest monsoon is relatively weak, and the direction sometimes is not like always southeast. So in some part of Taiwan, sometimes in summer, they will have east wind or north wind. It's very strange. But in the winter season, the northeastern wind is strong and consistent. So we think that's why the north-facing coastline are more dirty and has more debris than others.
So the East Coast, as you have shown in the map, in your map, it's clean. Amazing. Yes. Amazingly, it's clean. Naturally clean, right?
Yes.
And this is facing the southwest monsoon. Okay. So when you said that your southwest monsoon is weak, it's amazing because in the Philippines, the southwest monsoon is the season where we all have the accumulation of marine debris. And we're almost like neighbors. so I'm looking at probably I'll work on something like this so that I can compare in the future the Philippine setting. Although we are many islands in the Philippines, so there are more accumulation of in the islands as well as in the mainland, and there's quite a difference in regarding your area because you're a small island and basically it's either you don't have much accumulation in some places or aggregation, as you said. Anyway,
so you mean in Philippines your debris usually accumulated at southwest.
Yeah. Yeah, which is quite a difference, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting because in your report, in your article, the east coast, which is usually in our country, is affected by the southwest monsoon. Especially now, it's starting. This is where during our coastal cleanup on September, it's nationwide. There's a lot of debris in this side. It's not coming from the local places. It's coming from Manila Bay. It's coming from the urban areas. I was wondering, next corollary to that question or to that comment, your north-facing area, would you have anything to assume where the source is coming from? Is it from the ships only, or did you notice any debris that's maybe coming from the Guam side or whatever, you know?
Without you mean the debris at north-facing coastline,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them are fisheries-related debris like buoys, styrofoam, and
okay.
fishing nets. Some also have plastic bottles, but we doubt those are maybe from some of them, maybe from the shipping, like the Chinese fishing vessels.
Yeah, Chinese
or
fishing vessels.
Chinese ship,
Yeah.
Chinese containers.
Yeah, and I was and added to that, just one thing: is there an accumulation of lighters? I mean, disposable lighters, which is mostly coming from China mainland. Did you notice anything about that?
Lighters, Taiwan.
Disposable plastic lighters.
Yeah, we also find lighters from more from China.
Yes. I would assume because there was a project before by Japan.
May I interrupt?
Yeah.
Jerry,
Yes.
that is beyond our paper scope. So we have one more question from Jong-Soo.
Okay, go ahead. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Ms. Hansen.
Thank you, Jerry. I have a question for Ning.
Mhm.
And you told us there is no seasonal difference
Yes.
for seasons, and northeast and the northwest season, it means it's winter season, right?
Yes, winter season.
And because of the winter and northwest wind, you have a lot of debris facing northeast and northwest. So I thought a little bit discrepancy because there is no seasonal variation, and north facing beaches has a lot of debris. But it's a statistical result, right?
Yes. Yes, is that here?
And surveyed July, October, and January, and April, right?
Yes.
But I just curious about it, but the result proved by statistical result. And one more question: you recorded the three most abundant debris type, like a plastic buoy and styrofoam buoy and plastic bottle, like that. The recorders did the surveyors record the debris in order, like most abundant is plastic buoy, second is formed buoy, and second is plastic bag, something like that. Just they recorded three abundant debris. They recorded in order or just recorded the three types?
They just record three types. No order. Yeah.
I asked about it because of the table 2. So I can understand this table. A total is number filled out. I mean on the table. Second from the bottom, 274, 263, and 278, something like that. And plastic bottle from the July 2018, 86, and single-use plastic 28. Just you summed up these kind of debris from their recording, right?
Yes.
So I think I understood. You counted all of them. Then there is no, there was no debris, and they recorded, if they recorded the debris, they recorded all 3 types, or just some surveyors recorded 2 types or 3 types, just 1 types like that.
Yes, yes. If the beach is very, very clean, only one cigarette box on the coastline, then they will only record the cigarette
one,
box.
and some
Yes,
surveyors 2 types, and some surveyors 3 types like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, understand. Then you summed up and like a percentage. And one more just mention, in Korean calculation, you compared last part of the slide. We applied 0.2 kilogram per liter, and you applied 0.04 kilogram per liter. That's the difference. I mean, you mentioned you had a lot of formed debris. Your debris is light, and Korean debris was heavy. That's
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Very much. Yes, let's move to the next paper.
Okay. So here comes the next paper. So in this paper, we use the same rapid assessment method, but we focus more on the derelict fishing gears. So here's the abstract. So before, most marine litter monitoring surveys are based on counting. But if the litter is big in its volume, then there will be underestimation. So in this paper, we use the data that we surveyed in 2020, and in this time we improve our survey method. So in this paper, we can calculate the proportion of each types on the coastline, and we compile the derelict fishing gears we record on coastline into index, and we also check the potential source of these derelict fishing gears, and we found out the most frequent items were hard plastic buoys from China and Taiwan. Okay, so in 2020, we trained 28 surveyors and we give them a training workshop. In 2020, we improve our survey method. So we no longer use the paper sheet. We use Jason designed a Google My Map. So every surveyors, they just check the location of sampling sites on their mobile phone, and they use a GPS application to record coordinates. Then we ask them to install another application called timestamp camera. So with this camera, every photo will attach the GPS coordinates on the photos. And we designed a Google Sheet for surveyors to upload the data. And this time, we not only did the survey in Taiwan, we also survey the outlying islands, Mazu, Kinmen, and Penghu. And you can see Taiwan is here. Penghu is at the southwestern part of Taiwan. And Mazu and Kinmen is very, very, very close to China. Okay, so in the training, the surveyors learns what is one bag and what is the every category of the composition. And the third part is that we use this pie chart. So the surveyors will estimate the composition of each category and use 20% as an unit. So if the beach has like more plastic bottles, so they may estimate like 60% plastic bottles and 20% plastic bags and 20% construction waste. So they will give us icon the number of the composition. So we can calculate how much they estimate the volume for the abandoned debris on coastline. Okay, so here are the results. So this time for the east coastline and the islands, we only did 2 surveys. So we only did survey in April and August. And you can see the east coast is still very clean. And the most polluted part is at the mid-southwest, the blue part here, and Penghu. But regarding to the concentration, and you can see actually Mazu has the highest number on their coastline, although the coastline is like relatively small, relatively short, but they are like more debris concentrate on the coastline. And the east part is relatively clean. You can see the number is much less than others. And the large proportion is at Penghu and mid-southwest part. And we also find that the most polluted sampling sites that accumulate over 50% of the debris, so about 15 coastlines, they contain about half of the debris in Taiwan. And because we have that kind of estimation method, so we can calculate that the fishing related waste accounts for nearly 70%. So most of them are foamed buoys and also fishing nets and ropes and hard plastic buoys. So they are all fisheries related debris on our coastline. And you can also see the plastic bottles, they contain like 20%, also like abundant debris. Okay, so regarding the types and distribution, and you can see the plastic bottles, actually every coastline, they have plastic bottles, and the proportion is from 12% to 29%. And the fishing nets and ropes is top at the northwest of Taiwan. And foam buoys is largely accumulated in Kinmen and Mazu. And we strongly believe these come from China because they just like, these 2 islands are just located at the river mouth of China and very close to their aquaculture waters. And the hard plastic buoys are top in the north coastline of Taiwan. And this is the regional data of debris types and distribution. So we can see actually Penghu, the yellow stripe, you can see Penghu has a lot of various kinds of debris in this table. Okay, and regarding the derelict fishing gear distribution, we can find out that aquaculture debris mostly concentrated in mid-southwest and Penghu. But regarding to other types of fishing gears, actually I feel very hard to tell like which region has more certain kind of debris. I feel it's difficult for us to say. Maybe our sample are small, or maybe we should do a more detailed survey on this. But regarding the aquaculture, you can see a big difference in the numbers, but others I really cannot explain. And about the distribution and potential source. So we asked the surveyors to record the 5 debris that they record first on the coastline, but sometimes there's like no debris on the coastline. So we also delete some repeat ones. So finally we have 616 classified items, and we check the characters on it, and we also did a fisherman interview to check if they know the origin from that fishing gears, or if they recognize the potential fishing method of that fishing gears. So we find out like nearly half is unknown region, but some we understand that it's come from Taiwan, like 30% comes from Taiwan and 19% comes from China, and others may come from Japan, Vietnam, and other sources. Okay, so we did a index like this. We compile all of our photos and data into this index in the appendix. And okay, so in this time we improve our survey method, and we also did another round of weighting. So here you can see the mean density is similar to the previous survey, but has more weight on it. And the second is because we improved the survey method, we can tell the composition of derelict fishing gear. And in Taiwan, we found nearly 70%. In South Korea, it's like 56 to 61%. So we think that before, people always saying that marine debris 80% comes from land and 20% comes from the sea. But in East Asia, maybe, or in Southeast Asia, maybe we underestimate the ocean source debris, and we think we can have more research or regional cooperation to look deep into this situation. Okay, I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Ning, and we have questions on the previous one, and we are welcome to get more questions for the second paper. Before we getting new questions about the second paper, let's see the questions on the chat box. Trang asked us, the volunteer to join the survey are who? Any local organization regularly after paper?
Okay, so when we did the first survey in 2018 to 2019, at that time, Jason and I were still working in local NGOs. So actually we gathered our NGO friends to do the survey together. But in 2020, we just call people who may interested in coastal survey and with beach cleanup experience before. So we call those surveyors to come and we train them. So actually they are not volunteers. They got paid, and insurance and other like per diem and food pays. So they are not from NGO anymore. So we just call people who want to do this and who want to help us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ning. We have more question. How to select the sites? Yeah, Jason had some explanation.
Yes. So so for those who may not understand this method, we use the interval sampling. So basically, we did not intend to select the site by our mind. The GPS, the GIS software select the site for us. So we only set the interval like 10 kilometer, or you can set the interval according to your needs or your human capacity, like 20 kilometer or 100 kilometer if your coastline is really long. So after we estimate our human power and our money, we think the 10 kilometer interval is suitable for us to execute this survey. So we set in QGIS, and it selects the sampling sites for us. So when we have the GPS coordinate, we distribute to the surveyors, then they just go to the beach to record the marine debris.
Okay, thank you, Ning. It's a systematic sampling.
And for that, I have a simple question. For the coastline, I have a simple question. You measured, of course, from the some source. The coastline is including the coastline included natural and artificial, because in Korea we counted just only natural part.
Only do natural parts. Yeah, I know.
Yes. Oh, okay. But how about you? You did the same method? Same way?
No, like we did all coastlines.
Okay.
Yeah, because our west coastline, most of them are with artificial structures.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are still some space. How to say, the seawalls here, there are still some coastline, the intertidal area and the sea, so they can still do the survey. And sometimes there is seawall and also a lot of wave breaker. So most debris will hide inside the wave breakers. So our surveyors will have to jump over the wave breaker to check every hose to see how much debris in it.
In the first paper, you mentioned you avoided if the point is not accessible. You mentioned and when selecting the site, interval, what?
3
method?
kilometers.
Then you avoided the water part also if you selected, because you randomly selected every 10 kilometer. And in the
Yes.
paper, I read first paper, and you mentioned you avoided inaccessible part. So
Yeah, inevitable. We
Okay.
cannot access some points.
Then-
Yeah, only two sampling stations, the surveyor cannot assess it. But in Taiwan, we have many passionate fishermen. They will find a route to the sea. They are very crazy and passionate, so they will create a new road to the coastline. So finally, we can find every coastline is accessible for us.
Okay, do we have more questions from floor?
If I may, Ms.
Yes, please.
Ms. Yen,
Please.
you mentioned that this my map is that it? My map where
Yes, Google My Map.
Google My Map, you are reporting your your surveyors or your people in doing the survey. They report to you through the Google My Map. Is that correct? Paperless. It's
你要秀吗？Jason can share his masterpiece of
Yeah.
Google My Map. Just
Yeah.
a moment.
Okay. Now my question is, do they report through this without paper anymore? Just by is this through
Yes.
your mobile phone or?
Yeah, just by mobile phone. So we set a Google form. So we give them the link. So they just check because Google My Map, you can 导航要怎么讲啊？ Or you can navigate with the Google My Map. So when you drive car, you can navigate in your car, and they will guide you to the coastline. And when the surveyor go to the coastline, they just finish all the records on the mobile. It's like an app, but it's not an app. It's just a link,
Okay.
like a website. Yes.
Thank you.
Terry.
Thank you. So Jason, you're Mr. Jason as the
Yo.
this one using Google Map. Wow. There's no way you can drop any pin here. It's too dense. Anyway, thank you for showing me, Mr. Jason. I was wondering if Jason can share it with us. So we will see, and maybe
Yes.
we're also developing our own. It's almost like the swell.
Yeah. So on this map, we have two coordinates. So one coordinate, you see a lot of P on this Google Map is a parking place. So the surveyor just click the P and it will navigate to them to the parking place. And then they will go to the beach. So another coordinate is at the beach. So, so this is all developed by Jason.
Thank you. Very good, Jason. Thank you very much for the
Maybe
info.
next time in workshop in Philippines.
Yeah, but the Philippines, it's very difficult.
Year,
Yeah.
we have some chance to listen to Jason's technical guide.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Miss Yen and Jason. Thank you.
For the first paper, Ning, you guys check the influence of current, not only
No,
by wind.
only wind. For the current, we still don't know how to do it.
I see.
Maybe Dr. Sani can share the current as a factor.
Yes, the movement of marine debris.
It's very complicated.
Current and wind, both factors. So I
Yeah.
current will be checked next time. And then your two papers are based on volume estimation by visual.
Yes.
Estimation. So it has some weakness, as all of ocean and indigo water team know. If we think about the result, we see this is just estimation by quick glance by trained people, and it is volume. So when we interpret the data, we have to change our thinking, because we are used to understand the number based on the estimation is based on the number of items. So previous survey result in your area, like coastal cleanup, the digits is different. but basically, the estimation unit are different. So I think that should be emphasized. Explain the data, and especially the item identification, like 3 or 5 items list at every site. It's just frequency. The meaning is like frequency, so it doesn't mean abundance. I need to clarify that part. This comment from my side, and we have one more question from Rodelas, please.
Hi, good morning again. This is Josephine Rodelas of Fora organization. And I would like to congratulate the presenters and the team responsible for developing the 2 great studies. And this question is actually, this is more of an idea. And I would like to ask if you have intervention or plan in the future to have a dashboard implementing these types of technologies. I'm into mapping. I know GIS, I know QGIS, I know apps. And I think if we can engage more of the public, private, and social civic organizations and be able to implement these even in the monitoring or recording stage, I think that would substantiate further your data, and we can create an impact, a greater impact when it comes to providing science-based information.
Yeah, Jenny?
Yes, I think it's a really good idea. Currently, our survey is funded by the government, so it's a government project supports this plan. But I also think public engagement will be key to raise public awareness. My colleague Jason will share how he designed the sampling method and Google My Map and the presentation of dashboard on the IMDC, the poster session. So we welcome everyone to join him
Okay.
in September.
Yes, we already behind the schedule, so I think this is very helpful discussion and presentation, and we have more and more participants than ever. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you next month.